What's up, everybody? Welcome in to the Early Edge. I'm your host, Alan Bell. Got a fantastic show lined up for you today. But before we get to that, let's take a look at how we did yesterday. And a nice little 5-4 day. It wasn't great. Wasn't horrible. I was really hoping that somebody had the under in that Blue Jays-Red Sox game. That would have been a nice little roast that we had. But like we said, it was all right. Take a look at the Early Edge in 5. Calvin coming through with 2 WNBA prop plays. Well done to Calvin on that. Our kid is crushing on it. But tell you what, let's bring in the stars of the show and get going for today. We're running 4 wide today. I love it. First up, M Squared. How we doing, sir?
Doing well, AB. Fired up for some more baseball. Got a fun UFC card. Always great to have Andrew on here. Got Micah, of course. Love these days. Let's go.
Yeah, I do too, man. And Andrew, speaking of that, dude, we got a nice UFC card. We'll break that down here in a minute. It's just good to see you, brother. How we doing?
Yeah, good to see you guys as always. Looking forward to getting into it today.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Hey, I get excited for no more man than this. Micah Roberts. Always a pleasure, sir. How we doing?
We're doing excellent, man. We got a little rain outside. I'm loving it. I mean, rain in the desert doesn't happen too often, so you have to appreciate it. You have to love it, and you have to pray for it. It's happening right now.
There we go. I was going to say, man, like, I don't know how many shows that we've done together. It's easily in the triple, digits here. I've never seen it rain. In fact, I've never seen it nothing but just pure sunshine, right?
Exactly.
So I think that's a good sign. It's a good omen for today, man. We're going to have some great picks. All right, let's get into the storylines that affect the betting lines for today. And I'll tell you what, Micah, we'll start right with you. Speaking of it usually being hot out there in the desert, Major League Baseball, hot teams, hot hitters, who do we need to know about?
Yeah, there's a couple coming out, and we had the big cooler with the All-Star break, so some of those teams, most notably the Mariners, lost right out of the gate, and that's unfortunate because they had a nice roll going, but that's what happens once you break up that clubhouse and you get 3 days away, you come back, it's not the same. The groove is over, and so you got to look at some of these teams now that are carrying wins from yesterday and from going into the All-Star break hot, and of course, that's Toronto has won 4 straight. Cleveland has won 4 straight. Houston has won 3 straight, and the Dodgers 6 straight. It seems like the Dodgers have never-ending 6-game win streaks. Those are teams that hot. Decent value along the way with Toronto and Cleveland, maybe, but Houston and the Dodgers a little too pricey for me to follow on there. Then you have the losing team. I like to follow losing streaks as well. Anaheim, of course, a 4-game losing streak again. Except this one is important because the last one was a loss with Ohtani, the first time Ohtani had lost in his last 7 starts. And the Royals, 4 straight they've lost, and Boston, 3 straight losses. And I'll talk more about that game, Boston and Toronto. Those are the things I like to put together when the team has a losing streak, facing a team with the win streak. It's like it just seems to always carry on for both teams with their streaks. A couple hot hitters right here. Freddie Freeman killing it, 20 of 34 in his last 14 games, 588 batting average. This guy is smoking. Ahmad Rosario, 18 of 40 his last 14 games, 450 batting average. And Lourdes Gurriel is absolutely smoking the ball. Best hitter in July so far, batting 404, but 17 of 37 in his last 14 games, 459 batting average. Those streaks will probably continue today as well. So maybe over 1.5 total bases for each.
Man, I'll tell you what, you were speaking about the Los Angeles Angels, coming into the game yesterday, right? Like they had lost 13 straight when Ohtani wasn't pitching.
Yeah.
When he was pitching, they had won 6 straight. So the fact that the Braves got to Ohtani, I am fascinated to see what they do with him and Trout, man, because when you're losing with those 2 guys, like this team is so bad. Yeah. I'm with you on that, man. That's an excellent point. Excellent point. All right, M Squared. Speaking of Micah's backyard and all across the country, Major League Baseball weather. What are we looking at today?
Yeah, we got a busy one in terms of the boost. I've got 8 games that have a significant, meaningful boost in terms of home run hitting and run scoring, starting with Toronto and Boston, plus 10%. Chicago Cubs on the road at Philly, plus 20% home run hitting and run scoring. Minnesota, Detroit, plus 15%. St. Louis, Cincinnati, plus 15%. New York Yankees on the road at Baltimore, plus 10%. Miami, Pittsburgh. Miami finally got on the scoreboard last night, plus 15% today. San Diego Padres, New York Mets, plus 20% home run hitting, plus 15% run scoring. And then the biggest boost of the day, Tampa Bay on the road in Kansas City, plus 25% home run hitting and run scoring. It is going to be 104 degrees with winds blowing out at 15 miles per hour in Kansas City today. insane hitting environment.
Wow.
A 25% boost. That is incredible, man. Like, wow. I don't know if I've ever heard you give a 25% boost before.
That should be a top play right now.
Yeah, that's fantastic, man. That's good information. All right, Gabas, coming over to you, my man. We got UFC Fight Night tonight. All right, who is, for a UFC novice like myself, right? Like, what does the card look like? Who's leading it? Who's the main event? Break it down for us, man. What do we need to know?
A noon start time for the prelims today. The fights are taking place in London. Last time the UFC went to London was a few months ago. The card was so good, Dana White said we have to go back. So here we are. Prelims start at noon. We've got a lot of good British prospects on the card today, including some names you might know. You got Paddy Pimblett fighting on the main card. Molly McCann coming off a big spinning elbow knockout. And in the main event, of course, Tom Aspinall taking on Curtis Blades, which is a fight we'll touch on later. But nonetheless, I'm really excited for this one. There should be a lot of good fights top to bottom.
Got Blades going today. Yeah, I'm fired up for it, man. It's going to be good. All right, let's get into our picks for today. But before we do, let's take a quick break and hear from one of our sponsors. And we are back. All right, we've got 2 plays on the board for you today. First up, we're going to go with the Atlanta Braves, what we just spoke about, against the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. We're going to take the Braves on the run line, -1.5 at +100. That game first pitch tonight is at 7:20 p.m. Eastern. All right, we're going to go look. The Angels, like we just said, they've lost 13 straight when Ohtani's not pitching, and they lost yesterday with him pitching, right? So we feel good there. And you look at who is on the bump for Atlanta on the other side. The young phenom, Kyle Wright himself. Atlanta's 72% straight up this season when he is on the mound. We're going to take the Braves on the run line. Second play, we're going to go with the Rockies at the Brewers over 7.5. We played this yesterday. It hit. It was nice. We had it at 7. Yes, it took extra innings to do it, but I don't think that we're going to need it today. The Rockies, they've hit the over in 3 of its last 4 games. And the Brewers, they're giving up 5+ runs per game over its last 7. Let's expect that again today and play the over at 7.5. All right. Get into our guys. M squared. You know what? Again, I can't do it like Coach does, but I'll tell you what, you got an excellent play on the board. 1 play, Major League Baseball. What you got?
Yep, this one's going to be nearly identical to the Blue Jays yesterday. I'm not saying the Yankees are going to score 25 runs, but we'll see what happens here in this one. We're going Yankees team total over 5, -105. Excellent price point there at WinBet if you can get it. You keep the push condition alive with the 5th run. We need the 6th run for the win condition. So I don't hate 5.5 at +110 that's floating around out there. But this one is all about Jordan Lyles. Similar to Eovaldi yesterday, Lyles is exactly what he is. His 347 weighted on base average is exactly where his expected data is. But where it gets really interesting is that batted ball data, just like Eovaldi yesterday. We have an even bigger sample size on Jordan Lyles. There have been 77 pitchers who have had at least 250 batted balls against them so far this season. Jordan Lyles rates number 77. He is dead last, the worst pitcher in Major League Baseball with that kind of sample size, getting barreled up at 8.3% of his plate appearances. This is not a team that you want to get barreled up against, especially when you get to also give this team a hit at the bullpen, a guaranteed 9th inning team at bat. We're going over 5 for the Yankees.
And Mike, real quick, you don't have to go in full explanation, but for any of us who aren't fully aware of what barreled up means, what is that? Break it down for us.
It's the perfect combination of exit velocity and launch angle on a batted ball when it was hit.
Perfect, man.
So he's giving up lots of hard contact. They're squaring up baseballs. He's not missing many bats.
Yeah. He's squaring this thing up. Yeah.
He's not fooling anybody.
Man. All right. Perfect. All right. Gabas, coming over to you. You got 2 plays. UFC fights tonight. Break them down. What you got?
Yeah, so I'll start with the main event. I touched on a few British fighters with hype around their names. Tom Aspinall in the main event taking on Curtis Blades. This is the first time in Curtis Blades' entire UFC career that he's going to close the underdog. I don't agree with that. I am high on Tom Aspinall as a prospect like many others, but I just don't think you could price him as a favorite versus Curtis Blades. Curtis Blades is going to have the wrestling advantage. He has the 5-round experience. He should have a cardio advantage, and he's fought the much better competition. So I'm taking Curtis Blades +125 in my first play. That's going to be in the main event. Also on the main card, we're going to stick with that. We've got Volkan Ozdemir at -144 versus Paul Craig. Paul Craig is a submission specialist. Volkan Ozdemir is going to have a big advantage on the feet. I think he's a good enough positional grappler to not let Paul Craig pull guard. He does have some tricky submissions, but I think if he can avoid a guard submission, he's going to win this fight. I think he's live to knock out Paul Craig early. I think he's live to knock him out late, and I think he's going to win minutes in this fight. I think we're getting a discount at -144 here. I price it closer to -200.
You got to love anybody who's live to do that, whether it's early, whether it's late. It's fantastic. Now, speaking of a team that could knock somebody out, whether it's early, whether it's late, we had a fun one with him yesterday. My man Mike is going right back to the well. You got one play. Bring it down.
Yeah, we're going to go with the Blue Jays. Hot team here. They have won 4 straight going against the Red Sox, who have lost 3 straight. That's one angle there. The other angle is that the Red Sox have been killing or getting killed by the Blue Jays all season. The Blue Jays are 8-3 against them. In fact, if they win today, they will have won the first 4 series in a season for the first time since 1993. So that's something, I don't know if they know that, but that's something they can play on and play well. It's just something that's been happening all season. But right now, the Red Sox prime territory to pick against because they're just not playing well. 6-15 in their last 21 games with an ERA over 6, exasperated, of course, by yesterday. But that's a full run higher than anybody else in baseball. They are just not getting it done in the bullpen. That's awful. Bullpen season long has been terrible. 19 saves, 17 blow saves. That is just tragic. That is a horrible, horrible closing stat there. And Cutter Crawford is not going to get it done here. He's lost 2 of his last 3. His last 3 have gone over. He's not fooling anybody either. And then you got the ace on the mound, only laying $1.40 with Alek Manoah. He looked really strong in the All-Star game. A motion pitcher, front runner pitcher. He gets stronger. They get him a couple runs on the board. He takes care of business. Usually goes long 7 to 8 innings. So I expect a good performance out of him, out of the hitters. All the hitters are front runners, by the way. They're guys, they just pile on. You saw it last night. And the new manager, John Schneider, whatever, I don't know a lot about him. I don't think it's the same guy from Dukes of Hazzard. But John Schneider has done a good job here, getting his guys focused, back on track, 5-1 in their 6 games since having them in. So he's righted the ship. They had everything there ready to go. The talent's there, the bat's there, everything's there. They just needed somebody else to kind of point it in another direction. And so far, so good.
You know, I'll tell you what, here's you're speaking about how poor the Red Sox have been this season. Here's a statistic for you that shows that you are not doing well at all. When the over has hit in your games in 10 of the last 12, and you're averaging like 2 runs a game, that's not good. That's not good at all. Now, real quick, all right, our man Trent Wade for NASCAR this weekend, Micah, got 2 plays. He likes Daniel Suarez over Chase Briscoe at -112. Martin Truex Jr. over Ryan Blaney at -112. What are your thoughts there?
Cha-ching. I love it. I think Suarez is going to be really good. You know, part of it because he's a road course guy, and we're looking, you know, this is the super speedway that races like a road course because 3 distinctly different turns, enter and exit. And Daniel Suarez and Chastain have been the best on the road courses this season. 2 wins in 3 races so far. But more than that, those cars have been built good for everywhere. So I look for Suarez to be pretty good in this race. He's 33-1. Took a little bit on him to win. And I think the Gibbs cars are going to be really good. We'll find out more in practice in an hour or so. But the Gibbs cars, I think, are going to be really good. They've won 7 of the last 9 races at Pocono, and I look for it to continue. I mean, between Kyle Busch, Truex, and Hamlin, they've got it pretty well covered at Pocono over the last decade.
There we go. There we go. All right, everybody, grab your paper, grab your pencil. Let's take the recap here. And it looks glorious. M squared is on the Yankees team total over 5. Micah Roberts, as he just broke down a minute ago, on the Blue Jays money line, -140 today. Andrew Gabas, UFC 2 plays. He's on Vulcan, money line -144. Blades, money line +125. Our 2 site plays today. The Braves on the run line -1.5 at +100. And the Rockies Brewers over 7.5 priced at -115. The AB pick 3 today. We're going 3 plays. MLS, DC, Montreal, both teams to score -155. Portland, San Jose, both teams to score -180. A little pricey there. And Cincinnati, Nashville, both teams to score priced at -140. So It's all the damage we could do for today. As always, everybody, you know what? We'll be live again Sunday, normal time, 10 a.m. Eastern. You can catch us here. But until then, as always, best of luck. Let's cash these tickets, and we'll see you tomorrow.